GameStop will not be open on Thanksgiving. Should other stores follow suit? Find out what I have to say about this right here on the Scott Stedman podcast.
What you making? Fruitcake! What you baking? Fruitcake!
Good afternoon. It is October 14th, 2015, and it is a beautiful sunny day here in Stanton, Virginia. And today, I'm going to talk a little bit about the news that came out earlier this week that GameStop, which is a retail store that sells video game accessories, merchandise, gaming systems, and actually video games, is actually not going to be opening on Thanksgiving. It will be opened early on Friday, on Black Friday, but as far as Thanksgiving, it will not be open. This news is actually very interesting because it seemed like probably the last 3 or 4 years, a lot of retailers have been basically pushing their Black Friday sales to open up their stores in the evenings on Thanksgiving. I can remember when I was working at Target for the last 3 years, during the seasonal time. At first, it would be, okay, we are going to be opening up the stores at 2 o'clock on Friday. And then the next year, it was 12. And then the next year, they opened up their doors at 10 o'clock on Thanksgiving. And the reason behind all this was because statistics have shown that the earlier you open up your store, the more people are going to basically get all their shopping done at your store. So, for an example, a big superstore like Target will, if you're going to go shopping there, then most of the time you're going to get all your Christmas gifts and all your stuff at Target. You're not really going to jump around between Target and Walmart, and even if you just decide to go to Kohl's or whatnot, like, you're not really going to be jumping around store to store to get stuff. You're really just going to pick one store and do all your shopping, which for me kind of put a damper on my Thanksgiving festivities, being someone who had to work on a Thursday. On Thanksgiving. Now, you would think like, oh, well, it was at 10 o'clock at night or it was 12 o'clock. Not that big of a deal. But here's the thing that you're forgetting. If you think about, if you're working a normal workday, let's say you come in the mornings at 7 o'clock in the morning and you leave 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay, that's your normal work schedule. So now you are going to have to work for Thanksgiving. You're going to have to work, let's say, 10 o'clock at night, all the way to about 6 o'clock in the morning the next day on Friday. What you have is essentially, here's what has, because really it starts to throw a damper into your sleep schedule. So that means your sleep schedule is going to be off. Plus, if you think about a typical Thanksgiving day, you wake up in the morning, you start getting stuff ready. If you're making the meal, you are now cooking your meal in the morning, probably watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And as you are doing all of this, you're spending time with family. Maybe you have family members who are coming in town bringing stuff, so maybe you don't have to cook too much. But then essentially by the time 11, 12 o'clock hits, you're now going to have your Thanksgiving meal. So you have your Thanksgiving meal. And then usually after a Thanksgiving meal, people watch movies or they play games or play football or watch football, whatever the case may be. But at least there's some time to spend with your family. Um, but if you have to work that evening at like 10 o'clock, you'll probably want to try to get at least a couple of good, decent hours of sleep in. So now you're going to bed and you're sleeping. And of course, the Thanksgiving meal probably helped you with that. You're probably all tired from eating all that turkey. So now you're asleep. So now you wake up, get dressed. You now have to drive to work, try to find a parking spot because you already have people lined up outside the door to get in. And then get in, find out what your assignment is, get to your location, and then open up the doors. And basically, you're going to have to deal with not only a lot of traffic in your store, but then you're probably going to have to deal with some grumpy people. You're going to probably have to deal with people stealing stuff. And probably the interesting thing about these, these things being open at like 10 o'clock on Thanksgiving is you're bringing your kids with you. And I can remember one time working at Target how there was a kid that went missing. And I remember on my walkie-talkie there was a code yellow, and it was very hard for me to hear the description because as the guy's trying to give the description of the kid, the father's standing right next to my team leader, and he's just screaming the kid's name over and over and over again. And then eventually it got to the point where he finally called his wife to tell his wife that, oh, our son's missing. And his wife said, hey, dummy, I told you I was taking him to the car and why we were going to wait for you to get the, your 55-inch television for, half off. So luckily the kid wasn't missing. He was with his mom the whole time. So that was good news, but still it was very scary. So when we look at this idea, it's almost kind of like this going backwards in a way. The few times I did Black Friday shopping, everything was on Friday. Nothing was opened on Thursday except if it was like a gas station. So people get gas, but as far as any type of retail stores, nothing was open. And it makes me think about, is this a good idea? Is this, us kind of reverting back to just having people getting up at like midnight to go stand in line, or people who are just sitting at line for weeks and weeks so they could be the first ones in at a Best Buy at 3 o'clock in the morning on Friday? If that was the right route instead of doing this Thursday evening stuff. I even think last year Kohl's was open all day on Thursday, which, some people are like, ooh, I can get my deals anytime on Thursday. And some people are like, well, what about those poor people who have to work all day Thursday? They don't get to spend any time with their family. And I know for, me working at Target, being a full-time employee, they gave us some type of benefits. We got like 2 times our pay. And we also got like a catered Thanksgiving meal. Got free beverages and free cookies and free dessert. So in a way, it was almost like, hey, thanks for coming in. We're going to make sure you have a feast, and we're also going to double your pay. Which for some people, they'd be like, hey, I'm making more money working on Black Friday and Thanksgiving. Yeah, I'm all for that. I'm cool with that. Where others might be like, you know what? I think my time with my family is more important than money. My thoughts on this whole thing is I really think when you open up a store on Thursday, it's basically saying to your members, we don't care about you spending time with your family. We only care about making lots of money and trying to make sure our numbers look good towards the end of the year. And it's kind of hard, especially when you pride yourself as being like maybe a family company or a company that supports families, and yet you take family members away from their family on a day where we're supposed to be thankful for each other. to say, you know what, money's more important than family. Um, so, you know, for me talking to GameStop, I think this is a right move for GameStop. And I think it might be an easier move for GameStop since they only specialize in electronics and video games, where something like a Walmart or a Target kind of specialize in grocery, clothing, electronics, sporting goods. They have a lot more versatile in their products that they're trying to sell. So obviously, if people are going to, again, do all their shopping at one place, it makes a little bit more sense for the Targets and the Walmart stores to kind of be open a little bit more earlier than a GameStop. But I also think doing it like on a Thursday evening at like 6 or 10 might be a little bit too extreme. Maybe, I'm okay maybe with a midnight because technically that is Black Friday. But again, I think, GameStop, their decision not to be open on Thanksgiving is a right move. And I hope a lot of these retailers begin to follow suit, really say, hey, maybe we should do this. Maybe we should try to make sure people stay with families. Because I remember when I would have to work, when I worked when Target was opening up at midnight, I mean, it was just busy, busy, busy all the way up until like 8 o'clock in the morning. It was just constantly busy. Always had people in there, and it finally started to die down at 8. Where when the store opened up at 10 o'clock, it just seemed like there wasn't that much people. It just seemed like there wasn't much going on. It wasn't as packed as it used to be. And I don't know if that was because Target didn't have really good Black Friday deals, or if it's because people are like, hey, maybe if I don't go and shop right at 10 o'clock, maybe corporate might say, maybe opening up our store at 2 hours earlier than we did last year probably wasn't a good move. Financially, it wasn't a good move, and probably for our workers and for them being able to spend time with their families, it probably wasn't a good move either. So again, with all that being said, GameStop, you have my support with the decision you have made. I will probably be walking into your stores sometime on Black Friday to get some gaming stuff since I'm a huge gamer. But especially as I wrap up my podcast, I really want to, ahead of time, just basically just give some props to all of those who do have to work on Thursday, who do have to work on Thanksgiving, whether it's part of your job or it's just because that you always have to do it because you're like a gas station, you operate a gas station, or you operate a grocery store and they're just kind of open for those last minute, like, ooh, I need a pumpkin pie crust or whatever. You guys have my support. I know it sucks that you have to work on Thanksgiving or you have to get up, go into your store super early on Friday to deal with crazy, ungrateful people who walk into your stores. But I think, but ultimately, me being there, having to work that, it's a very hard job. It's very tough. Most of the time you're sleep deprived. But you know what? My heart is out to you guys. I think that you guys, even though you have to do it, I know it sucks, but at the same time, you have my respect. And obviously, if I'm in your store, you're going to probably have the most caring, loving person, supportive person who's going to be there for you and not try to cause as much issues as other people do. And especially, I'm not going to be stealing stuff and hiding it in places in the store. All right. So again, thank you for listening. And hopefully, if you're listening to this, maybe you may also kind of take action just by your actions and maybe just not go out and do your shopping right there on a Thursday and maybe just wait to Friday. So hopefully other stores may follow suit like GameStop did and said they're not going to open up their stores on Thanksgiving. All right. Well, I hope you guys are having a great day. I will talk to you later. Bye.
Candy cherries, red dye number 2. Green cherries, green